What's up, everybody? It's your boy James Eats, and this weekend was the first ever Streamers Cup over on Twitch, where we had 8 amazing streamers all competing in the new VGC Season 5 format, and I ended up getting 3rd place in that. So I was very satisfied with that. I did want to win, but we did end up taking the L. I ended up beating some great players and losing to some great players, but I wanted to show you guys the team that I used and go in depth on it. I'm going to be uploading all those VODs this week, and it was double elimination, so I went 2 wins, 2 losses. So there are going to be a total of 4 high-level matches that you guys are going to get to watch over here. So I hope you guys are excited for that. But yeah, guys, I wanted to do like an in-depth kind of report on my team and kind of how I went and team building it, and it's all about Porygon-Z. And I know Porygon-Z is quite the fan favorite, and I think he is an absolute monster currently in VGC Season 5. So I think this will be a lot of information that you guys will definitely like to hear. The first iteration of this team, a few days before the tournament, we went 19 wins and 3 losses on stream, which is pretty insane. So this team is definitely pretty solid. I'm going to be going over like changes and updates that I would like to make to the team in the future. I don't think the team is absolutely perfect. I mean, Season 5 has only been out a couple weeks, so I mean, obviously I'm not gonna have a perfect team just yet, but yeah, that's why this video is gonna be very informative for you guys, and it's gonna be informative for me to kind of edit the team in the future. So guys, before we jump on in, just want to remind you guys that I do stream full-time on Twitch 5 days a week, every day except for Wednesday and Saturday. So I would love it if you guys came over. I would really appreciate it. It's always a ton of fun. And don't forget to leave a like on this video. You guys know I don't ask. I'm gonna start asking more often. It does help your boy. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting out, I obviously wanted to start with Porygon-Z. I wanted to build all around him. His strengths are doing an insane amount of damage. You know, the fact that Porygon-Z gets the ability Adaptability, it pretty much makes stab hit as if it was super effective instead of just a 1.5 times boost. Stab means same type attack bonus, so a normal type using a normal type move. And I mean, when you're using Dynamax Max Strike off of Hyper Beam, you're hitting with 150 base max strike that works as speed control because it lowers both their speed, and it's hitting for an insane amount of damage off of Porygon-Z's high special attack and adaptability. So I knew that Porygon-Z was gonna be a huge offensive threat. And then when Dynamax ends, Porygon-Z can just pick up 1 more KO just by clicking Hyper Beam itself. Hyper Beam has the same base power as Max Strike, so Porygon-Z is really strong. And so obviously I had Hyper Beam on my Porygon-Z, and then I used the other 2 attack slots to more have utility, because I mean, I think Porygon-Z literally just needs to click Max Strike. So I had Max Darkness to hit ghosts and to lower the special defense of my opponent's mons, and then I had Max Lightning so that I could hopefully fend off some Sleep Powder and some Yawns and stuff like that by setting up the Electric Train. Originally, I was running a Nasty Plot set with Porygon-Z. I was running Nasty Plot 3 attacks. That way, I would still have a max guard while Dynamaxed, but I could set up if the opportunity arrived. But I thought it was just kind of overkill. Like, I think Porygon-Z with a Life Orb was doing more than enough damage by itself. So I felt the 3 attacks protect was just right. But something about Porygon-Z is that he's fast with base 95, but he's not that fast. Like, max speed base 95 is still gonna get outsped by a ton of stuff. So I knew that that was something that I wanted to support him with. Max Strike is great speed control, but it is a bit inconsistent. You know, it's not gonna affect stuff like Dragapult with Clear Body, while Max Airstream would always affect your side of the field, stuff like that. And then Porygon-Z is pretty squishy. He's honestly not like insanely squishy like a Pheromosa or something like that, but he's definitely going to need some support in that category. So I kind of felt that I wanted redirection, I wanted speed control to help him get sped up, and when I'm running a hard PZ team, I really felt like I needed those things. So next we added Clefairy. Was the first addition to the team, and honestly I kind of thought of it as like a no-brainer. I think redirection with Porygon-Z, amazing. I think Friend Guard next to Dynamax Porygon-Z is also super amazing. It's gonna like save Porygon-Z from a ton of attacks. I think Helping Hand is insane for Porygon-Z, just being able to pick up even more KOs, and then having the slow after you on Clefairy as a Trick Room counter. When you use the move after you, the target moves right after you. So if your opponent was to set up Trick Room, Clefairy being minimum speed base 35, if I were to use After You on my Porygon-Z, I would attack immediately after my Clef, which means I would be attacking before Rhyperior, who's base 40 speed. I could attack before Conkeldurr, stuff like that. So After You is a great Trick Room counter, and so Clefairy all by itself was doing redirection boost. Redirection, so that's defensively helping Porygon-Z, Friend Guard defensively, offensively with Helping Hand and After You, and all just by sitting there. And so in the past, I haven't liked Clefairies with no attack on them, just because like if you get taunted, you're absolutely shut down, and then sometimes you feel like a sitting duck when you just can't do anything. But honestly, Porygon-Z hits so insanely hard that he can actually just carry the whole game by himself. And like I never really felt like that with other Dynamax mons, but Porygon-Z literally can just destroy the whole enemy team by itself. So I actually felt okay without having an attack on Clef, and I think it worked out pretty well. After Clefairy, I knew that I wanted Tailwind, and of course the first two options that came to mind were Whimsicott and Talonflame. They both have a priority Tailwind that they set up for instantaneous pressure. You know, of course, with Talonflame's Gale Wings ability, flying type moves get priority while Talonflame is at full health. And then Whimsicott with Prankster is, of course, at any time. Tailwind is going to be +1 priority. And so I knew that I wanted one of those two options. I wanted instantaneous pressure with Porygon-Z. That's how he really nets those KOs, is just the enemy not being able to stop him before he can just start attacking and start swinging, you know? And so I thought Whimsicott would probably be a little too low damage next to Porygon-Z. I already have Clef with no attacks, and then Whimsicott might just have Moonblast and that's it. And so that's why I did go with Talonflame. Talonflame always outspeeds Whimsicott, which is very cool. You know, base 126 speed versus 116, I believe. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to outspeed with my Tailwind. I won't have to worry about getting my Tailwind taunted. There's no way to taunt Talonflame before I'm able to Tailwind, so I thought that that was really beneficial. And I also thought that Quick Guard on Talonflame was actually really cool. Nobody, like, saw it coming. Like, people just kind of forgot that Quick Guard was a thing, and especially with a lot of big priority moves in the meta right now, such as Grassy Glide, such as opposing Talonflame Brave Birds, and then of course stuff like Fake Out, Prankster Thunderwave, Prankster Taunt, all that kind of stuff. So Quick Guard was actually really cool, and I thought Talonflame was a good addition, and Talonflame was obviously one of the new additions in the Isle of Armor, so I thought it would be fun to use one of the new Pokemon too. And yeah, so Talonflame was really good. Quick Guard was also very underrated. And while PZ is an absolute Chad, he cannot provide all the damage himself. And with all the amazing support we already had, you know, Clefairy, Redirection, offensive, defensive, immediate Tailwind from Talonflame, it wasn't too hard to make other high damage Pokemon succeed on the team. And when I think of heavy speed control, hyper offense, I think that is always a perfect fit for Dracovish. Now, Dracovish is pretty self-explanatory in its damage capabilities. You guys know Fish's Friend, if you hit first, it does double the damage, and it's just insanely powerful. But I think that Dracovish is especially powerful right now because Rillaboom is #1 in usage, the most used Pokemon in the game, arguably the best Pokemon in the game right now. And when Rillaboom is that popular, Gastrodon usage is at an all-time low, meaning teams don't have that water storm drain absorption to stop the Fish's Friends. I haven't played against a single Gastrodon, honestly, with this Dracovish team. I've played probably about 100 games or more, including Showdown and On Cart with this team, and Gastrodon is nowhere to be found currently. So Dracovish is extremely good in that regard. And then I am a big fan and proponent of using Mystic Water Dracovish. Mystic Water boosts your water moves, by 20% at all times. So I just think that most people assume Dracovishes to be Choice Band or Choice Scarf. And other players can abuse that by assuming that you're a choice Pokemon. They assume that you can't protect. They think that attacking into Dracovish is a free kill and it's very safe, and then they get insanely punished by attacking into a Protect that they do not see coming on Dracovish at all. And so that's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to run Protect on Dracovish. I thought it was really good, and I've used Mystic Water a lot in the past. And so with the next Pokemon coming up, I was starting to think that I had a bit of a weakness to Psychic Spam, and Trick Room. With those matchups in mind, I actually ended up going with Indeedee-Male. I think Hyper Offense always needs good answers to Trick Room, and on the first iteration of this team, it was actually Gardevoir in this slot, and I thought it was fun using Gardevoir since Gardevoir hasn't been really used too much. And I actually think Gardevoir is better in the role for this exact team, which we will go into a little bit later in the video. But they both had the exact same moveset, whether it was Gardevoir or Indeedee, of Expanding Force, Dazzling Gleam, Imprison, and Trick Room. So I can shut down Trick Room, I can shut down Expanding Force, Dazzling Gleams from opposing Pokemon, and I mean that shuts down a ton of Psychic Spam alone. The reason I wanted to run Indeedee was I thought I wanted to at least, at worst, speed tie with other Indeedees to imprison them before they can attack me with Expanding Forces and stuff. And to be honest, I didn't even play against much Psychic Spam at all, but Indeedee was very good at shutting down the Trick Room, and I did have a Focus Sash here on Indeedee because I really felt that surviving the turn that you imprison the Trick Room was super important, and Indeedee-Male ended up doing pretty well, and then we just needed to find some final touches to the team. Looking at the 5 mons we had prior, I felt like we needed to do more damage. I mean, Porygon-Z does a ton of damage, so does Dracovish, but they both require like support to get in that position. Talonflame does a bit of damage, but it's going to die really fast, and then Indeedee does a good amount of damage, but is going to die pretty fast as well. So I felt like Rillaboom was a pretty natural add with how insanely strong it is at the moment. I mean, I was thinking I wanted to run Assault Vest to help me bulk through certain teams such as Rain. I think that Rillaboom is going to be really good against T-Tar and Excadrill, which Porygon-Z can't really hit well with a normal and a dark type move as my main offensive attacks. And so yeah, I thought Rillaboom was really going to patch up those matches. I mean, Fake Out from Rillaboom is something that any Hyper Offense team enjoys having. Sometimes you can't have too much Fake Out, but maybe in these new metas, Fake Out isn't quite as good. But yeah, it was really good. And then Rillaboom also had the terrain control, which was very nice as well. There was a bit of dis-synergy with both Psychic Surge and Grassy Surge, which we will talk about in just a second. But yeah, these were the 6 mons that we went with. And now that I put this together, let's get into the items, spreads, and moves of each member. First up, the Big Daddy himself, Porygon-Z. I knew going in that I did not want to run a max speed, max special attack Porygon-Z. I kind of felt like that wasted Porygon-Z's potential to tank a hit or two, especially with Friend Guard from Clefairy, and as well, I wanted to be modest. I knew that being modest Porygon-Z was going to pick up insane KOs, and I mean, I was right. I was picking up KOs left and right on things that I had no right to pick up KOs on, but it was pretty cool. I was running Life Orb. Life Orb felt pretty obvious as it was an item that causes immediate pressure, and you know that was like a thing that I wanted on my Tailwind. I said instantaneous, but like immediate or instantaneous pressure. Life Orb does that, and so does Priority Tailwind. So Life Orb felt like a perfect item. In the future, I may explore a more bulky, nasty plot Porygon-Z. Like maybe I don't have to run the Life Orb. I could run Citrus Berry. I know that sounds kind of weird, but if you just get so absolutely bulky and then you set up a nasty plot and then you sweep everything, you can kind of hit 2 birds with 1 stone as a tank and do an insane amount of damage. It's just going to require that 1 turn. So I may explore a nasty spot in the future. It sounds like a pretty cool set. The HP number on Porygon-Z was to take 1 less damage of recoil from Life Orb. If your HP number ends in a 9, then you will take 1 less damage from Life Orb recoil. The speed point is 1 point faster than Modest, Venusaur, and Togekiss. I felt like that was a good speed tier to hit when I am still trying to be kind of bulky and mostly putting into Modest special attack. The bulk is pretty arbitrary. You know, I hit that HP number, I put the rest in defense because I think I take more physical attacks than special. And then the special attack investment, when I was playing around with builds and calcs near the beginning of my Porygon-Z adventure, this is the special attack that I was running, and yeah, I just knew the mental calcs very well. I mean, you pick up KOs on insanely bulky HP and special defense Incineroar in 1 hit with Max Strike. No helping hand necessary, completely dead. You take out the really bulky Togekisses, the physically bulky Togekisses with near like max HP, and then a little bit of special defense. You OHKO them, easy game 100% of the time with Max Strike. So you are easily one-hit KOing some of the most bulky mons in the format with this amount of special attack. So it is very, very strong. And this EV set might not be completely optimal, but this is what I ran, and it worked pretty well. And then you guys know about the moves. Hyper Beam for Max Strike, Dark Pulse to hit Ghost and lower special defense, and then I ran Thunderbolt, which could have been a different move. I'm not sure what. I don't think I needed any, offensive coverage. Maybe a Psychic move to hit Terrakion, but I was running Thunderbolt to set up the electric terrain to hopefully not go to sleep. So yeah, that was my Porygon-Z set. For Talonflame, I knew that I wanted dual stab, so both a fire and a flying move. Talonflame has a lot of great support moves, so sometimes it's hard to fit on 2 attacks, but I felt like I really wanted the fire move due to the grass Pokemon in the meta, such as Rillaboom and Amoonguss, and they're often holding a Koba Berry for the flying types, and then just to hit Ferrothorn in case I get into a sticky situation with Ferrothorn, having a fire move is always going to be nice. And then Tailwind is a very obvious move. So for the 4th move, I actually went with Quick Guard. Quick Guard was catching a ton of people off guard. It did come in handy a lot, but in the future, maybe Taunt or Protect could go well on Talonflame. Maybe taunting some other Tailwinds on some opposing teams, maybe taunting Trick Rooms if you're ever in that situation. And then Protect is a great way of protecting your Gale Wings against certain threats and then Tailwinding the next turn. Better than Quick Guard can in some situations. So I may explore those in the future. The EVs are very standard for damage and speed. You could go for a more bulky Talonflame in the future. I think that actually sounds like a good idea. I think we just need to make sure we outspeed Whimsicott. And the reason why I think we can be a more bulky Talonflame as well is because the safety goggles item that I gave Talonflame, it never came into play once. Amoonguss is a little less popular than I imagined. I think Dynamax really hurt Amoonguss a lot. I think the terrain's constantly changing to set up things that stop sleep hurt Amoonguss a lot. And I mean, I think Amoonguss is a great mon. That's a conversation for a different video. But the safety goggles never came in handy. So I think that we could actually afford to do some different sets with Talonflame. Maybe be a bit bulky with like a Chardy Berry, maybe a Wakan Berry. Maybe go for a more offensive set with something like a Sharp Beak or something like that. I think there is definitely a better item for Talonflame. I'm just not exactly sure what it is, but it definitely does exist, guys. I would have loved to run Sash on my Talonflame to stay alive, but I really did want Sash on my Imprisoned Trick Roomer. So that's the set we went with Talonflame. And then Whimsicott could argue to be better than Talonflame. I can get those Tailwinds up a lot more often, and then Whimsicott can support the team with something such as, Fake Tears, Helping Hand, all that kind of stuff. So Talonflame versus Whimsicott is, it's not completely obvious. I think Whimsicott sounds pretty good as well. Something else to keep in your mind if you guys want to create a Porygon-Z Hyper Offense team as well. So this is a very standard, boring Clefairy set. You've got the EV Life because you are not fully evolved Pokemon. You've got the Friend Guard to boost up your allies' defense by 25%. They take 25% less damage if we want to be exact. And then the bulk is max HP, max defense with a relaxed nature, which lowers my speed, and then I have 0 speed IV, so I am as slow as humanly possible for that after you for Clefairy to help against the Trick Room matchup. So that's why our minimum speed, and then like I said, no attack, Helping Hand, Follow Me After You, and Protect. These are all great moves on Clef. I think Protect on these more bulky squads, these more defensive-ish teams where you want to keep things alive, I think Protect is 100% necessary on Clefairy. I would argue it's one of his best moves, because when Clefairy's alive, the partner is taking 25% less damage. If Clefairy dies, they are not taking 25% less damage. So this is a boring yet effective Clefairy spread. As I stated earlier, I really did want to run Mystic Water Dracovish. I just really valued the ability to change my moves and protect. I loved the idea of being able to change up moves and like Psychic Fang the Lapras team. That was what I was honestly thinking about a lot. I know I could go hard with Vicious Rend, but the fact that I could, pull a Protect and then get into a position and then Psychic Fangs off the Aurora Veil, I felt was really, really nice. I didn't want to lock in with Choice Scarf, Choice Band into Psychic Fangs against Lapras team. I just thought that when I'm a Hyper Offense team, Lapras is sometimes the complete bane of a Hyper Offense team's existence, and getting rid of the Aurora Veil sounded absolutely amazing with Dracovish. And I think Mystic Water helped facilitate that a lot. I did unfortunately end up missing a few KOs in the tournament that I otherwise would have gotten if I was choice banned. So choice ban can definitely be tested and explored. I personally, just like I said, I wanted to run Mystic Water, but that doesn't mean it's the best option completely. Choice ban Dracovish is a tried and true, extremely strong set, so maybe choice ban would be better. And then I felt comfortable with the adamant max speed of 127. That's the speed number that Dracovish hits in the game. I felt comfortable with that speed tier. I was outspeeding things like Max Tyranitar, and then, you know, slow bulky stuff such as Lapras, Incineroar, most Togekiss, stuff like that. So I was very confident with just being a max attack, max speed, adamant Dracovish. I thought it was perfectly fine. And then, like I said, I ran Psychic Fangs. It gets the Strong Jaw boost, and then I can get rid of screens. I felt like that was very nice. And then I ran Crunch as my final attack. Crunch gives me an option to hit dragons such as Dragapult, you know, super effective against him. And then it has the chance of lowering defense, which can really get Dracovish to win those late game situations. You know, 20% chance to lower defense is going to happen pretty often. So maybe you just need one defense drop and you can close out the game. And yeah, Crunch is pretty underrated in that ability to get that defense drop. So yeah, pretty standard stuff on the fish, but the fish is a simple man. Then we got Indeedee Male, and as I said, the main reason that I wanted to run Indeedee Male was so that I would at least speed tie with opposing Indeedee Males. And in hindsight, I would have liked Gardevoir more. Gardevoir hits way harder with Dazzling Gleam and Expanding Force outside of Psychic Terrain. And then I could still imprison Trick Room stuff, such as Indeedee Female and Hatterene, any kind of slow Trick Roomer like Porygon or Dusclops. I was still able to imprison them. I was just going to hit way harder. I also would not have to worry about the, you know, terrain overlap, the terrain dyssynergy with Rillaboom on the squad. The terrain overlap was actually an issue in one of my tournament games, so I thought that Gardevoir was a better choice in hindsight. But this is the team I use, and I'm going to tell you guys about that, and you guys can make changes to the team to make it better, you know? And so Trace on Gardevoir is also a super nice ability. I mean, you can grab really cool stuff in this meta, such as Download off Porygon-Z, and then get a special attack boost, which is insane. You can trace off Intimidates and intimidate the opponents. You can trace Swift Swim off of like Kingdra, Ludicolo, and then you're even better against those rain teams, stuff like that. Like, Trace on Gardevoir, you can get some really cool abilities, and it's actually really cool. And so this moveset is the ultimate shutdown of Hatterene and Indeedee. Both on Gardevoir and Indeedee Male, I ran the exact same 4 moves. I also just went with max special attack, max speed on both of them. Indeedee, I ran Timid for the, like I said, I wanted to at least speed tie with other ones. I think Gardevoir can afford to go Modest for even more damage, and then you're still pretty fast at max speed. Just another reason why I like Gardevoir. And it actually, Modest Gardevoir is actually 1 point slower than the speed tier that I hit with my Porygon-Z. So that's pretty cool because you can max Darkness, lower their special defense, and then Gardevoir can hit right after. So just another point of thought on the team of good synergy. And then I went with Focus Sash, so, you know, I didn't care about bulk, wanted to be max special attack, max speed. And yeah, Sash really enables you to reverse a Trick Room. If they're not prepared, they don't double into you. You can set up the Imprison if they don't double into you, and then the next turn they have to KO you, and then the next turn after that they can actually set up Trick Room. So Sash on Imprison Trick Roomers is a very good set for very obvious reasons. You know, we've seen Chandelure running Sash on their Imprison Trick Room sets for a while. And yeah, that was Indeedee Male. Last but certainly not least is Rillaboom. And as I spoke about earlier, I knew that I wanted an Assault Vest since my team was very, very squishy, but they did do a lot of damage. And I think Rillaboom kind of did both. You know, I felt that the Boomer fit the bill being very bulky while still being able to dish out good damage, which is exactly what I wanted. So I ended up running Woodhammer and Grassy Glide, excuse me. I wanted the option to do huge damage when I'm not Dynamaxed, which Woodhammer provided. And in hindsight, I think having U-Turn or high horsepower or something like that would have been nicer to have over Woodhammer. I mean, if I'm G-maxing Rillaboom, Grassy Glide is turning into a 160 base power move no matter what, the same as Woodhammer. So I just felt like the utility of U-Turn, being able to switch around, being able to hit other types really well with high horsepower, such as like Duraludon, who's actually pretty popular, would have been nice. So That could be an option to replace Woodhammer in the future, but I think Fake Out, Knockoff, and Grassy Glide are pretty much 100%. So I think Knockoff is extremely good with how good Porygon-Z, Dusclops, stuff like that is in the meta currently. And then Taunt is also super good on Rillaboom. I used a lot of Taunt Rillaboom on my Cinderace Rillaboom team that we almost got rank 1 on the ladder with on stream. I was running a Koba Berry on that set. You know, Koba Berry makes you pretty bulky, kind of like an Assault Vest, but only for flying moves. But flying moves you do get hit with very commonly, so I think you could explore a bulky Rillaboom in the form of Koba Berry, and then you're able to run Taunt. Or you could even be Miracle Seed Rillaboom, you know, doing a ton more damage and then running Taunt. You know, those could have been superior. Like, Taunt is a really good move, especially for hyper offense, stopping Trick Rooms, maybe stopping Tailwinds. So definitely something to think about in the future. And then I did want more bulk in the squad, so the EV spread is pretty bulky. I've got max HP, 60 special defense, Assault Vest, and then I've got 4 in defense because I did want to do a lot of damage too. This attack investment with Adamant hits the point of stat boost where you get 2 points. For your investment. You guys can hear about that in my advanced EV spread guide making video. If you guys don't know about the bump, is what we call that EV number. So I hit the bump in attack, and then it survives max airstream from Dynamax Togekiss if it does not crit you. It survives Life Orb max resonance from Lapras, non-Life Orb, excuse me. It survives non-Life Orb max resonance from Lapras, even off of a Blizzard. So this is a pretty bulky, pretty strong Rillaboom, and he did his job very well. So there you have it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed the team. This team is really cool. It's really fun, and you can just completely wipe people out. So I had a lot of fun playing with Porygon-Z, and I think the future is very bright for Porygon-Z in this format. I think he might be the ultimate king of just go ham hyper offense damage here with how well it abuses Dynamax. So I think this team can definitely be better. I think in the future hard matchups that I was running into was Terrakion, not even the beat up one, just normal Terrakion. It's Rock Slide, it's Close Combat, the threat of Quick Guard on it, you know, really kind of shut down a lot of the stuff that I was going with. It outspeeds every single mon on my team except for Talonflame. So Terrakion was pretty scary, and then insanely fast teams such as Tailwind, Tailwind plus max Airstream, Swift Swim Pokemon, Sand Rush Pokemon, you know, those were kind of hard getting through those insanely fast squads. So those are matchups I would look to patch up if you guys want to make your own Porygon-Z teams. The rental code and the paste bin will be in the description of this vid, so guys, check those out if you guys want to use them, if you want to see the paste bin exactly written up, how it is. And yeah, once again, I think Porygon-Z's future is bright. Max Strike is insane. It does a ton of damage. And yeah, Porygon-Z is a lot of fun, guys. So that's going to do it for me. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Remember, I do stream on Twitch 5 days a week, except for Wednesdays and Saturdays. I'd love to see you guys over there. And then leave a like on this video, guys. I would love and appreciate that. So with that, I bid you adieu, and I will see you guys later. Peace.